Hello again everyone, my name is Trebus and this video is going to be just kind of my commentary on a little subject of Diablo 3 concerning the auction house and replayability. So I'm just going to kind of ramble for a few minutes here about something that's been really affecting my play quite a bit in Diablo 3. So before I go into anything, I just want to say, first of all, I think Diablo 3 is a great game. I think it's a fantastic game. There's been a lot of criticism brought against Diablo 3 for many different reasons. But I think overall the reason that those criticisms are there is because there is so much good about the game. If the game was just crap overall, then no one would really care and people would stop playing it. The reason people are making all these criticisms is because they really like the game at its core and they want to see it become the best game possible. So I think that's the reason that there is so much of this criticism. So I don't want this to be looked at as me just bashing Diablo 3 because it's fun to bash Diablo 3. It's a great game. It's a really good game. And the purpose of this is to just bring light to a certain issue. So what I really wanted to talk about was whether or not the existence of the auction house fundamentally detracts from replayability of Diablo 3. I'm not talking about end game replayability, I'm talking more so about leveling alternate characters, because I guess probably the path most people will take is leveling one character to level 60 and then starting working on other characters from there. And that's the path I took, and so that's the perspective I'm coming from. My first playthrough of the game was with a wizard, and it was a really good experience overall. Just everything from the gameplay just feels incredible. The story was crap. The art is amazing. The feeling of progression of my character, getting into the economy of Diablo 3, you start with nothing and slowly you work your way up and you can buy better and better gear. You don't have all the money in the world, so you can't buy every single piece of gear that you want off the auction house, I mean. You're limited by your budget, and that first playthrough, your budget will get you some upgrades, but you'll also be finding upgrades on your own in the game. Then once you get to level 60 and you reach the real Diablo 3 end game, the end game becomes, first of all, progressing your character through Inferno. And the main way you do that is by having the equipment to do it. So at the end game, your goal is to just make as much money as you can so you can buy as best of gear as you can and continue progressing through Inferno until you eventually beat it. So that's what I did with my wizard. I started progressing through the acts of Inferno, which consisted of, tons of butcher runs, selling stuff on the auction house, and using that money to buy new gear. And the amount of money that you spend just keeps going up and up and up. And instead of, spending 100,000 gold on an upgrade, now you're spending 500,000 gold. Now you're spending 2 million gold until you're just operating on these gigantic budgets, and it takes a huge amount of gold to actually do any real upgrades to your character's gear. I don't think there's anything wrong with this. I mean, it makes perfect sense. If you want to get better gear, it costs more gold. The real problem comes into play when I start leveling an alt and I've already got, 6 million gold in the bank. So I start leveling my barbarian, the character you're seeing here, and through normal difficulty, I don't think anyone expects it to really get difficult. Normal difficulty is quite easy. I don't believe I used the auction house at all, but once I got to Nightmare, it makes a leap in difficulty, and all that gear that you had from normal is not very good anymore, and it starts getting more difficult. So I did the same thing that I would do with my wizard. If I want to make my wizard better, I go on the auction house and look at better equipment. So I go to look at the equipment, and lo and behold, I can buy incredibly good items for just pennies, just thousands of gold. A drop in the bucket compared to the amount of gold that my Inferno progressed character is making regularly. So I think I spent like 10 or 20,000 gold on 2 weapons that had reduced level requirement, so they were way higher level than my character was, and I used those weapons to progress easily through Nightmare, and Nightmare became not a challenge at all. Okay, fine, so I slaughter my way through another difficulty. Normal was not a challenge. With my new weapons, Nightmare is not a challenge, but I remember Hell being pretty tough for my wizard, especially on that first playthrough, so I'm pretty eager to get to Hell, where it's really going to become a challenge once again. So I get to hell with my barbarian, and I hit that same jump in difficulty where, wow, my barbarian's really not doing well anymore. I guess I better go look on the auction house again. So I do the same thing I did in Nightmare difficulty, and I look on the auction house, and now by the time I'm level 50 in Hell difficulty, I can start getting level 63 items with minus 13 level requirement, and I just have these godly pieces of gear that I'm paying pennies for. And talk about a first world problem, the game is incredibly easy again. It's no challenge at all. Yeah, sure, I'm getting to play a new class and I'm getting to try out new skills, but honestly, I can't even tell which skills are good because I bought one piece of gear, a really good weapon, and now every single skill I use is good, so I'm having there's no challenge or no fun into trying to figure out a build that works because I'm having trouble in this area, so I switch out my build and then I'm doing a little better here and making all these adjustments. I can quite literally pick any loadout and I can just left click my way through the entire act. So just like normal and Nightmare difficulty before it, Hell has become extremely easy because of my wealth of money. And so leveling for me has just become this horrible grind up to level 60 of just smashing through enemies and trying to level as quickly as I can, just so I can get to the end game where I actually get a little bit of a challenge. So that's my main concern here. That was the point I wanted to make in this video, is that I'm a gamer. I play games because I like to be challenged by them. And with the auction house, with having a high level character and using the auction house, every challenge of getting a character from 1 to 60 just completely disappears with spending, tens of thousands of gold on the auction house, which it is so easy to do. So before I wrap up this video and ask you to join the discussion in the comments, I do want to address a couple of things that I know people are going to say, as well as provide a couple ideas that I think might fix or at least help this problem. The first thing people are going to say is, well, just don't use the auction house. And to that I say, well, that's part of the game. The auction house is built into the game. It is part of it. It's not like something separate from the game that I choose to do outside of it. It's not like going to, one of these illegal Diablo 2 item selling sites and buying an item there. That's outside of the game. That is something that I can philosophically avoid. The auction house is a couple buttons below where I start the game. It's literally in front of your face the whole time. So to me, the argument of just don't use the auction house is the same as just saying, well, don't play part of the game. It'd be like saying, well, play through the game and don't use a follower, or play through the game and don't use 2 of your skill slots. Okay, I guess I could, and that would make it more challenging, but it's a total artificial barrier that I'm putting up in front of myself, and I wouldn't have any fun doing that at all either. I'm a gamer. I'm competitive. I like to challenge myself, and so to put up these artificial barriers in front of myself is not something I have any interest in doing. The other thing people are going to say is to play hardcore, and that's I give that the thumbs up. I buy that. I think that is probably a good way to fix actually quite a few issues in the Diablo 3 universe. The only problem is hardcore is not for everyone. Not everyone wants to have to deal with this really harsh death penalty. So maybe that'll work for some people. I'm going to try playing hardcore more to fix some of the issues I have with Diablo. But like I said, it's not for everyone. So as far as solutions to this problem, I really only have one concrete solution, and I'd like you to join me in the comments below and let me know what you think, if you think this is a problem and if it needs to be fixed. The one solution I have is to get rid of reduced level requirement altogether. Don't nerf it, just get rid of it. Because when you look on the auction house and you see the level of gear that you can get when you filter for reduced level requirement and not, is totally insane. The weapon this barbarian you're seeing right now is using is a level 62 weapon with, it's a one-hander with around 500 DPS and 400 life on hit, like 100 vitality, and it was not expensive at all. And I think the ability to get Inferno level gear while you're still at the beginning of Hell difficulty is just fundamentally flawed, and I think it should reduce level requirement should just be taken out across the board. I think it's pretty obvious that the game was balanced without the auction house in mind, and I don't believe Blizzard ever intended for a level 52 character to be using a level 62 item. There's no way that character will ever find it on his own, and so to be able to get it through the auction house, I feel like is not a good design decision. Anyways, I will wrap up this video. It's gone on long enough, but I do hope you will join me in the discussion in the comments. Let me know if you think this is a problem. Yeah, it's a first world problem, but it's also a gamer problem. I want my game to be challenging, and if there's things put right in front of my face that will take away the challenge, then as a gamer, I don't know how to restrict myself from not using that. So thank you all for listening to this commentary, and I'll be talking with you guys in the comments. Peace!